Well, it's not Friday, but it's time for a fun video anyway. One of the things that I love about this job, if you want to call it a job, is that it doesn't really feel like a job to me. I would do this work even if it wasn't something that I needed to do for income or anything else like that. I love doing this kind of work. One of the things I love the most is when I am able to restore to life a watch that was, or a machine that was badly abused or just basically left for dead or had bad work, and they're like little lost sick animals, and I'm gonna make them all better. It's one of the things I love the most about taking an abused machine and restoring it to life, as I said. And I had an opportunity, thanks to a customer, to get something actually pretty special. A fellow sent in a 7C46-7009 Golden Tuna. One of the a really early one, only when it was made, I think, the second month of production. So the date on the back is February of 1986. 1986 is a special year for me. That was the second half of my senior year at high school, which was, I don't know, I had a lot of fun. So it's sort of a special year for me, and I never thought that I would actually have one of these, but this one came in and it needed everything. And it's actually still getting everything. But I really wanted to dive into it. Stupidly, I didn't actually take any pictures of it before I started, but boy, it was rough. I mean, rough. It had gotten, not only had it been sort of not really well taken care of, it had also gotten some really crappy work. The dial feet were snipped off for some reason. I have no idea why. They didn't break off. They were literally, someone cut them off. And then they glued the dial to the movement. The dial loom was dirty because it had been handled. There were scratches on the hand. The sweep seconds hand was bent with paint chipped off of it. The watch had suffered a major battery acid leak, which had destroyed the day and date wheels, like eaten a hole right through them. I'll show you the parts. It had bad seals in it. It had some water intrusion. It was gnarly, but amazingly, the thing was running, crazily enough. Though by all rights it should not have been. But it needed a lot of love. And 7C parts are not that easy to come by, especially this is the earliest of them, and it's hard to get a hold of them. So the fellow who sent it in said, I'm not going to do anything with it. I'm not going to make that much of an investment. And so he passed it on to me. And I went hell for leather, and I ripped it into pieces, and I am approaching the point of being able to finish it, with one exception. But I think I have a workaround for that. I'm just figuring it out. So I want to break, and we'll look at it. It's just, it's fun. It's just so fun to bring these things back. So I'm going to go over to the bench. Okay, well, so here we are. This is, again, I'm annoyed at myself for not having taken pictures before the fact, but this is where we're at right now. So here's the good news. Here's the completed movement, and it's running. This was a full 100% teardown. Now, just to give you an idea of my sort of how much I really like restoring machines and keeping them original, I really try to not just do a plug-and-play thing where I just replace, major components or the entire movement. I try to restore what's already there. I want the watches to stay original. Like, I have a brand new 7C movement right here. I could have just dropped it in, but I didn't want to do that. I really wanted to bring this movement back, but it was, oh boy. Like I said, it had a lot of problems. You can see right here, see that hole? That is where the acid burned through the day and the date wheels. It just burned a hole right through them. The acid, once that happened, once that all stopped, then the date driving wheel broke as it was trying to push around to flip the date over, so that broke. That's bad. Here's the circuit. The circuit amazingly did work. Whoever who did this crazy work to it actually managed to solder a tiny line on to extend it. There's actually a piece that's supposed to be right here. And the circuit was working, but the second I took it out, it just fell apart. So that was the end of that. Maybe I'll try to find a way to restore that. But thankfully, the reason I decided to do this is that I had all the parts. So I was like, what the hell? The hour and the minute hands are okay. We've got a little we've got a, this is bent right here, and it's a little scratched, and there's a tiny bit of loom damage, but nothing major, and that should look okay. The sweep seconds hand is just bent to hell, and it's just gross looking. It's all wobbly and warpy and bent and missing paint. So thankfully, the only part that I had to order really was was a sweep hand, and thankfully I was able to get it. My supplier actually had one, so there it is. That's a new old stock original hand for this watch, so that's great. Pretty excited about that. The rest of the watch, I mean, the case was not bad. Let me just put these in here. It just, the watch suffered from poor quality work. But the case came okay. The crown threads and the inside the case are good, which is excellent. The crown was good. I had to clean it up, like everything. It was just dirty. I really had to get in there and do manual cleaning, which was fun. But the insert on the rotating ring isn't bad. The rotating ring looks pretty good. It had some gnarly corrosion inside here, and I had to get in with dental tools to really pick that stuff out and really try to, it was like chunks of like black material. It was funky. The only other thing that's sad is that these 7C46 tunas were the first ones. They did not have the first gen style, which was metal with a ceramic coating. Their shroud was the new style, which was pure ceramic. And somebody, and I don't think they're easy to find, and somebody put this thing, got a big hit on it. So it's chipped here, and it's actually split right there. So one thing I'm considering doing is there's this kind of Japanese repair using urushi lacquer and gold powder. They used to repair broken pottery. It's sort of an ancient or very old Japanese method of repair, and I might try that here. You can they have this material, then you can reconstruct this missing piece here and then glue this up and put that back together. I mean, maybe that would be interesting. I don't know how it would look though with just a strip of and a chunk of gold right there. Maybe it would look weird. I'm not sure, but so far I haven't had luck getting one of these replacement ceramic ones. I do have this, which is the earlier style for the 7C49 tunas, but then this would really look kind of like a 7C49. I'm sorry, a 7549, not the 7C46. So I'm going to look for one of these and see what I can come up with, and I might do that repair. But here's the thing that I'm just obscenely proud of. The acid, it was amazing, the damage. Now the battery acid normally will do a big number on this fibrous plastic main plate. Normally it will really hurt it, but in this case it actually, amazingly, it wasn't that bad. The only thing it did real damage to is it destroyed the post, the plastic post for the day correction wheel, which is this little diddly right there. If we take this brand new 7C movement and I flip it over, I should have finger cots on, but I don't because I suck. And we look at this, let's see if we can get this focused right here. It is right, darn it, it's right here. You have this black circle, and there's a little post right in the middle of it, right there, that little post. Let's see if I can get this to focus. In my watch, it was just gone. So I was like, well, I can fudge it, and I can just say that the day correction doesn't work, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. Now, I had already been working on the dial, because the dial has no dial feed. So what I was doing is I got out my handy dandy little bag of old Watchsmith supplies of replacement copper dial feed. Okay, and I have dial feed in here now. I'm basically putting them in here for just fitment to make sure that they clear, and then I'm going to attach them to the dial later on. So I was racking my brain about how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? And I was like, okay, wait a minute. I have an amazing idea. And I took one of those dial feet. Let's see if I can get this off of here. I took one of those dial feet. Let's see if I can show you this. It's not really finished, but... So what I did is I took one of those dial feet, I countersunk a hole in the plastic of this main plate, exactly the right size for basically the foot of the dial foot. I then shortened the dial foot to be the correct length that it was supposed to be, and then I epoxied it in, 2-step hardcore epoxy, and the clearance is just perfect, and it should be extremely stable. It should be very, very stable. This is not a high-stress part. It should do very well, but I am obscenely proud of that. See it turning? I'm so proud of that. So when I'm done, this watch will be mostly original, which is great, and it will have some crazy repairs underneath, which I'm excited about. That's always nice. Anyway, so the next video then I will we'll go over this and I'll show you the finished product. If you have any recommendations for what to do about this cracked ceramic shroud, let me know. Again, my desire is always to try to preserve originality if I could, and if I can get this, because I needed to get the Japanese porcelain repair kit anyway, because I have some beautiful Japanese bowls that our oldest broke many years ago, but I refused to throw them away, and I wanted to do that to them. Maybe I can do that to this, but that would mean that the shroud here would have, basically it would have, this would be recreated, and then the crack would be glued with this natural lacquer, and then it would be used like a pure gold, true actual gold powder, and it would be sealed. The stuff is quite durable. It'd just be funky because there'd be a repair here. I don't know if it would look harmonious. Anyway, that's it. So let's go for the next part of the video, and you will see what this looks like complete. Well, there she blows for the most part. I was probably going to put the original shroud back on anyway, even though it's cracked over here. But I did try the 7549 shroud, but interestingly, it actually is slightly wrong, and it actually won't fit. The way that Seiko created these, of course, is they started with the 6159 grandfather tuna, and then they went to the 7549 Golden Tuna, and the cases, the movements are the same, basically the same dimensions, exactly the same dimensions. They're even based on the 7549 is based on the 6000 series in a lot of ways, and so they actually swap right across. They'll drop in one movement to the other. But apparently, when they came out with this one, they decided to just change things up just a little bit, and so it doesn't quite fit. So anyway, there's a little bit of a lineage for you. There you go. You got your grandfather tuna, your 7549 Golden, and so this one's from 1982, and then they came out with this. This one is from 1986, and you can get a sense of some of the changes. The 7C they made the dial markings a lot more subtle in a pale gold rather than this crazy like two-tone, bright white printing with a little bit of pale gold. It's interesting. The little subtle changes that they made. I am so incredibly proud of this. So proud to have been able to bring this watch back to life without having to resort to using a brand new 7C movement. So it's alive. All new seals and everything else like that, and it screws down nicely. It's usable, it's functional. The only thing to deal with now is the shroud. And I'm not quite sure. I'm sure that a spare exists somewhere. I'm going to have to start digging for it. And these were made right at the tail end of the era that I work with, but that's okay. It's the same kind of shroud as this. I mean, they look similar, very, very similar. There are a few subtle differences. This has some beveled edges on it. This one is just round-topped, but I wonder if I could get one of these Darth Tuna shrouds, I bet you it would drop right on. I bet you it would. And because it's the same kind of ceramic, same kind of silky feeling, cold feeling, stone feeling thing. Anyway, so there it is. Isn't that neat? Okay. Well, 7C46, back from the dead. If you happen to have one of these spare shrouds, even a good used one, reach out to me and let me know. In the meantime, I'm going to put this on an Uncle Seiko 22 millimeter waffle strap, and we'll see how that goes. I'll give it a whirl. I'm not going to wear it too much because I don't want to crack that shroud anymore, but I think it's a good place to start. I am simply just So pleased to have brought this back from the dead. And the date correction works beautifully, by the way. Or the day correction, I should say. So we go, and there it is. See? Clicks over like nothing. Saved it. Saved it. Saved it. And we'll have it for... And that should be good for a very, very long time. That is a big, big overkill in terms of the strength that that little post needs to be. And that should be good forever. Cool. Okay. Well, thank you so much. That was very, very, very fun. Very fun. Another watch back from the dead. Another watch back from the dead. And that's a good thing. Okay. You have a good time. And that's about it. Okay. We'll talk.